down. So, so quick guys. I was watching. I was surfing through YouTube, and I saw a Honest Trailers, and it was the new one about the new Godzilla, and it irked me. I watched the new Godzilla in theaters, and I, being a Godzilla fan, ever since I was growing up, I really enjoyed it. I think it was the best Godzilla movie, I'd say, in recent memory, at as long as I've been alive. But so I was watching the Honest Trailer. So I was watching this Honest Trailer, and it touched on a couple things that I want to touch on. It touched on that what was number one? The particle effects. It was hard to see the monster. I felt that this did more to add to the environment. Very similar to another movie I enjoyed was Pacific Rim. They added the weather effects and this and that. It just added to the overall experience. So I don't think that was a really good criticism right there, because I saw the monsters just fine. Then the second one was the cookie cutter storyline of the people, and with a giant monster movie, you're going to get that. I mean, what you need people in the monster movie somehow. So, similar to Pacific Rim, which I believe is a great example of the perfect cheesiness to giant monster robot battle. You need that cheese factor. You need the not intricate storyline of the people, because you need something very cookie cutter quick to move on, to get straight into the monster, because that's all that you really want to get into is the monster. You want to get into the monster. And how do you do that? You have to have a human aspect somewhere. I mean, that's why Superman really doesn't work, because he's an alien. He's not human. So, I think they did fine that way. They found a cookie cutter, not quite seen too often nowadays, storyline, and I thought it really built up. The only reason why people are having a problem with Godzilla is you don't establish his limitations yet. You'd have to see him broken, beaten, crying out like he is going to die. You don't have that. You don't have that limitation. Probably because they're making a cinematic universe, so they have to make him seem like he's top of the food chain, unstoppable, because there is King Kong versus Godzilla, and most likely King Kong is going to be on the side for good, and Godzilla is going to be evil. They might be doing it that way, or they might not. Just how much of limitations do you show of Godzilla to connect with him? You don't connect with a dog that's glaring its teeth and showing how vicious he is until he gets hurt in his leg and he's limping and he's whimpering. That's when you get the connection with him. We don't have that with Godzilla. And that's why people are disconnected, I think, because they want to see that vulnerability. So you have that more of a connection with him. But other than that, I think that this movie is done perfect in 90s standpoint. 90s action movies were fun. This was a fun 90s action movie. I'm going to go Michael Bay here. Bad Boys 2, Armageddon, The Rock. All of those are perfect examples of 90s action movies that have just absurd storylines, but they're so much fun. This was fun. You have to take it in the 90s standpoint. Get away from Marvel. And then they also said in the Honest Trailers that, oh, look, it didn't make anything in the box offices. It made money. Not in America. It made money. It made more money overseas, because that's all Godzilla movies do, is make money overseas. You know what Godzilla movies do make money here in America is through rentals. So as soon as it gets on streaming and the any type of streaming channel, Netflix, Hulu, anything, it's gonna get its money. It's gonna see 5 times the entire budget, because that's where people go and see these movies nowadays. It's not go back 10 years ago. That's when people actually went to theaters. People don't go to theaters anymore unless you have a blockbuster with a backstory, a following. If you have just a blockbuster, they fail. We've seen that countless times in recent movies that have huge budgets. Nobody goes and sees them. Hence, what's that movie with the Immortal Machines, right? Right? Tell me if I'm wrong. Nobody went to go see that movie because there's no, and that has a fan base. Isn't that a book? Either way, nobody went to go see it because, was it terrible? I don't know. I haven't seen it. I don't think it was, but it doesn't have an established fan base yet. Not like the Marvel movies. And the Marvel movies, they hit it big. I like to say Marvel is the house that Robert Downey Jr. built. Marvel movies were terrible up until Iron Man. So they don't have that. And Legendary Pictures, they have Godzilla. And Godzilla is doing fine. It's doing great. To Marvel, they keep comparing it to standards of Disney and Marvel. You can't do that anymore, because of course people are going to go see those. And heck, even Disney can't get the Marvel movie money, people in their seats. So what do? They cause controversy. They're making Little Mermaid black for that reason. Just because they know you're going to go see it, because you're going to want to know, what's this going to be like? That's it. That's the only reason they do it, because it will make Marvel movie money. Other than that, it wouldn't. It wouldn't have made it. None of the movies coming out that were remakes of their old stuff are making Marvel movie money. And they want to do that. How do you do it? No film coming out other than Marvel films are making bank like they should. Not like they used to. So, take what you will. The movie Godzilla was a fun romp. Um, I know when he stood up after spoilers, when he stood up after being healed by the nuke, and I stood out of my chair and I cheered. Um, it was a fun nostalgic moment. They did the old classic um, music there, and then even the ending song. I was pumped up. The remake of Go Go Godzilla. It was a fun romp, and the director he did very well. I'm a big fan of everything that he's done to this point. Um, so before you bash something, just to bash something, a, take it with a grain of salt. There's better. There's more than meets the eye. It doesn't have to be this perfectly well-crafted script that makes you go. Sometimes you just want a fun. I don't want to rack my brain with something new. I want nostalgia. I want to just show me something I've already seen before, but with that just gets me going. That I just want to, yeah. This did it. Even had a nice little jump scare in there with Godzilla. So, before you take what honest trailers and everybody does, and I enjoy bashing low budget films and terrible movies, but I like to give credit where credit's due. And just because a movie isn't outstanding doesn't mean it's bad. Doesn't mean you can have just a fun movie. And there it is. So share, like, subscribe, check out. We have such different content on here, everything from scary to fun. So check us out.